to rate shop and compare quotes. Hello, everybody. My name is Roxanne Govari with Pemberley Realty, along with my partner Santiago Guerin.
Hello, everyone. Looking forward to today's topic. We got a great speaker today, and yeah, let's get right to it.
Well, we have Lauren Jimenez, an amazing mortgage broker, and she is a rock star. She has some new accolades that she's going to share with us. She's the winner of several awards in the mortgage industry. So we're really, really happy to have her. Hello, Lauren.
Hey, Roxanne. Hi, Santiago. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so excited. I'm a little nervous. I don't really do things like this, but definitely wanted to work with you guys. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. And tell us about yourself. Tell us about what you do, how you do it, and how you're a rock star in your space.
Thank you. Yes, so I am a mortgage broker. I do home loans. I've been doing home loans for like the last 13 years. Prior to that, I was working at Chase Bank for a few years. So I have a long history in the finance industry. I've worked on the mortgage broker side, and I've worked on the retail lending side. I'm back into the broker world, and it's life-changing, definitely. We have an array of products. There's nothing that I can't do. And it's really helped my business thrive over the last few years. Yeah. Last year, I just got awarded for the Scotsman Guide. So you may not know what that is, but it's like the holy grail for mortgage industry. And so it was for top female originator and top in sales. So
nice job. Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, super excited about that. Yeah.
So tell us how you got there. What did you do to actually get to receive the award?
I got there honestly just by remaining true to my core values. Work hard, do the right thing for people, and make sure that you're always learning and evolving so that you know more products. Now I'm in a phase in my life where I'm doing bank statement loans. I'm doing DSCR loans, FHA loans, VA loans, conventional loans. Like a lot of the loan products now, I know like the back of my hand. And so when you start to understand more of what you can offer to clients and realtors, you just become invaluable, honestly. Yeah. You know, I really enjoy helping realtors. Like I tell realtors all the time, like, hey, the more you know, the more your client is going to feel confident in working with you, but also the more confident you're going to feel in sales, right? Like you're going to be at an open house and you're going to be able to know, like, you know, this property, probably not the best for a VA buyer. Why? You know, you need to know things like that. Or this property, probably not the best for an FHA buyer. Why? It's just, I really feel like collaboration is key in this industry. And that's how we all grow, by helping each other and taking care of the client the best possible way that we can.
So let's talk about the let's talk about the subject.
I'm passionate about rates. I am so passionate about rates. I feel like a lot of people think that they know how to be rate shoppers, and it's far from how you actually do it. So for starters, the first thing you're going to do is make sure that you're shopping rates on the same day. Somebody that shopped rates 2 weeks ago is going to be completely surprised at how rates are at today. That's just the reality of it. I would compare it to like the stock market, right? You're going to buy stock today, or you buy stock yesterday. When did you buy the dip? You know what I mean? So that's the first thing, is making sure that you're doing everything on the same day. And getting a rate is not as simple as like, hey, I want to buy a house for $800,000, a VA loan. There's so much that we have to do to accurately price a rate for you. I get a lot of agents who send me other lending companies like rate emails, and it'll say like 5.5%. And the realtor is like, hey, can you match these rates? So I'm like, okay, send me the rest of the email. Let's take a look at it. But if you look at the fine print, it'll say 20% down payment, FICO's 800, debt to income ratio is 43%. Like that's a unicorn. Nobody has 20% down. So the most, like the everyday buyer is going to be 3 to 5% down and probably like 720 FICO. So when I send out my rate quotes, I ask you for like an idea of where the credit range is. Is it 700, 720, 740? How much down payment? Is it FHA or conventional? So that we can get it as accurate as possible. And I honestly feel like when the real estate agents know this as well, it's just like you're helping the buyer in something that is so overwhelming. So if you know a little bit as well, they're going to trust you so much more, and you guys are going to, you know, bond over the trust and the knowledge that you have. Because sometimes real estate agents call me and they're like, I don't even know what any of this is. Can you let me know if they're getting a good deal? And it says that the client's paying 10,000 in points for a rate that maybe I charge 1,100 in points. Yeah. And so then the client is concerned because they're like, oh, my closing costs are so high. We're going to have to negotiate more in seller credit, or I'm going to have to bring more to the closing table, when all of that could have been nipped if you just properly rate shopped and found the best loan program.
So what I'm hearing is it's not just the rates that you should shop for, but it's also the points and the costs, the fees that you should, and almost like the fees are more important than the rate, because the rate is the rate. You can't really shop for it much. It's the fees that you want to shop for and make sure that you're paying the least amount of fees.
Exactly. Yeah. And one thing that you can look for when, you know, talking to all these loan officers and banks is they're going to give you like a fee summary worksheet. Not all of them will, because some of them want to just withhold information from you. But it's going to be called the APR. So the annual percentage rate. So you're going to see the interest rate, and that's the rate that they're locked in at. Let's say it's 5.8. That's what their monthly payment is based on. But then there's also going to be the APR. And so the APR is probably going to be like 6%, 6.1. That is that base rate of 5.8 plus all the closing costs into a percent. So while their monthly payment is really not based on this APR amount, it's telling you like, okay, well, this APR is fairly close to the interest rate. So it doesn't seem like they're charging a lot of fees. Sometimes I've seen the APR a full 1% higher than the interest rate. And I'm like, okay, before we judge, let's figure out like what's going on here. Is it maybe an FHA loan and they had to buy the interest rate down to qualify? You know, there's a lot, but we always try not to just judge and badmouth other people at first. And we try to see the bigger picture here and like, okay, maybe they didn't qualify at a 5.8 rate and they needed a 5.5. And so that's why the costs bring it down to this rate is so high.
And Santi, pay real attention to this, because when I was buying homes, I was quoted a certain interest rate, and then when it came to actually signing the loan docs, and I'm looking at the APR, and I remembered, okay, they quoted me the interest rate at X amount, and here is this amount, the exactly what Lauren is talking about with the APR, and it's a lot higher. And then you freak out and you're like, oh my God, they told me this interest rate. And now I'm looking at this loan docs that I'm signing, and it's so much higher. And Lauren just explained it perfectly. So thank you for that, Lauren, because that is something that, exactly like you said, people are being quoted one thing, and if they don't understand the difference between the actual rate and the APR rate, then there's a big confusion that can happen at the time of signing, which is the 11th hour. You can't really change anything at that point.
And that's like the worst feeling to have when you're signing 100 documents and you're about to commit yourself to this large investment. You're like, oh my God, you don't want to have that like heart drop feeling. You know what I mean? You want to be like, I know what I'm doing. And so on, like touching on that, that was one of the things that the loan officers, when I first got in the industry, I was an assistant. But the first thing they had me do was learn how to read loan estimates and learn how to read closing disclosures. And it was very nerve-wracking. I remember like I didn't know if I was ever going to figure it out. But I'm thinking to myself, like, why is this so difficult for your everyday person to understand how to read when like this is the most important thing is your terms. You know what I mean? It's like when you buy a car, you want to know everything about what you're buying, the MSRP, you know, your payments. And now when it comes to loan estimates, like I can literally read it like the back of my hand and also guide someone else to read it. Like if a client calls me, they think they're getting a high rate, I don't even have them send me their docs anymore. I'm like, hey, pull up this document. What does it say in section A? What does it say in section B? Now pull up third page. What does it say for your APR? And then they kind of walk through it themselves and feel that like aha moment, like, oh, okay, now that all makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about services because, you know, rates are one thing in your industry. And of course, everybody wants to everybody wants to pay the least amount, but then no one thinks of the services.
Right.
Santi can give you an example of one that we just closed that he was pulling his hair out because the service that we were receiving was subpar. And the experience that we had and the experience that the buyer had was also subpar. So, Santi, you want to go a little bit into that, into your pain that you experienced, or I don't know, the pain that the buyer experienced and you were witnessing?
Is this one for? I mean, I don't want to say like.
Yes, it's the one that you're thinking.
I mean, it was just.
You can say the name of the lender. It's okay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so it was frustrating. Getting a hold, of the other party, and communication was just like non-existent. So that also made it extremely difficult to get through the transaction. Like when it could have been pretty simple, if just there was a little bit more back and forth and
Right.
understanding. So just having everyone more informed, I feel like would have helped the situation a lot better. But yeah, it was pretty tough.
So you hit the nail right in the head, and that comes down to communication. And you guys are younger. I'm the dinosaur in the industry, and I remember the days where lenders were easy to get a hold of, and lenders were actually happy to service and provide information and keep in contact. I feel like in today's lending environment, everybody's moved on to let's automate everything, and now you can't get a hold of a person, and it gives a very frustrating experience for the ones that are involved. So tell us about that aspect of the job and how you go about it.
Yeah, I love that question, Roxanne. That's one of my other points on rate shopping is you can also find the lowest rate, but you might find this internet lender that is working out of Oklahoma and has no idea what they're doing in Southern California.
In California, yeah.
Yeah, they could have completely pre-qualified the client incorrectly at a different property tax rate. Homeowners insurance, not knowing that there's California Fair Plan. But yeah, obviously I feel very passionate about all of that, but I'm going to stay on topic. So when it comes to servicing, you need to make sure that the loan officer you're working with is somebody that is in that area, like a local to California. They could be even LA, honestly, but as long as they're within the same state that you're buying in and reputable, they need to be answering the phone calls and emails. I can't tell you how many times I've heard realtors tell me that the loan officer answers like one day a week. And I'm like, that is absurd. That is crazy. So are you telling me that I'm giving too much of my life to you guys? Like talking to you guys multiple times a day. I can't even imagine not talking to people every day about the transaction. But I mean, that part is crucial. You know, you have to make sure that you're working with someone reputable, because your lending partner, you guys are like this. And sometimes the agent and the lender need to address issues so that the client never even sees it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a really important factor that I don't know how much people actually understand, that the lender and the a realtor, they have to work like this. Sometimes I come across potential clients, and I'm like, okay, do you have a lender? Yes, we have a lender we've worked with several times. Okay, great. That sounds good. We're happy to work with your lender. Can I get their information? Why do you need the lender's information? And I think educating the public that we are two professionals that you're hiring side by side, and we need to be in communication in order to service you properly. And that, I think, that message needs to be taught
We
over
can't
and
stress
over
it
again.
enough. Yeah. Yeah. You don't even have to go with your real estate agent's preferred lender, but your lender needs to be on the same page as your real estate agent, because it can make or break your transaction and your experience. You know, sometimes the clients want to be in the middle and handle everything. And that's just like, now you're stressed out as the client and you're like, I don't even want to buy this house. So let your team do what they do behind the scenes so that they can take you to the finish line.
Absolutely. You said it best. Let your team do what they do behind the scenes. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the contingency removal process, and what does that entail? And how does that affect the client? And what are the responsibilities of the lender to that process?
Contingency release is so crucial. I know that real estate agents explain the contract to their client, but when the client goes to the lender, sometimes they're like, oh, I don't know what all that means. And my earnest money deposits, I'm going to lose it. And that's where I also have to step in, and I have to make sure that when you wrote that contract, we kind of did it together. So like your inspection contingency, that's something that the agent and the client are going to work on together. But they keep me in the know, because we need to know, like, are we canceling this appraisal that we ordered because you're walking from the property due to the inspection? The most important contingency is going to be the loan contingency. I don't think any real estate agent and buyer should ever be releasing the loan contingency without talking to the lender. And you would be surprised how often it happens that they do release the contingency. The loan contingency is so crucial, because that's saying sorry, what was that?
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
it's very important.
Yeah, the lender is the one that's going to tell you guys, okay, here are all the conditions we have left. Or, hey, the file is issued final loan approval, or we call it clear to close, CTC. Go ahead and release that loan contingency. But that is something that we all need to get on a conference call and discuss, because I definitely have said, like, hey, this lender that we sent this loan to, even if they have cleared to close the file, there can be problems right before funding. So I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to talk through this. Like, can we get a 2-day extension on the loan contingency so we can make sure this loan funds? Definitely not the best conversations to have with the selling side. But again, if everyone is communicative from starting opening escrow all the way to funding, usually the agent's going to be a little bit more like, okay, I understand why you don't want to release contingency. But if the lender all of a sudden just comes into the transaction after being mute and is like, hey, we need 2 more days, the listing agent's like, I have no faith in you. You have not talked to me once. Like, why do you need 2 more days? And then that's when the notice to perform stuff starts coming out, and all this stressful, emotional situations that we don't
that
need.
can be avoided.
Yeah. So to answer your question, the home inspection, the appraisal contingency, And then lastly, the loan contingency. But I think where you really need to be talking to your lender is going to be that loan contingency.
Yeah.
Making sure the buyer understands, like, okay, you're waiving it. We all feel good about this, right? We all know what implications could come from this.
You mentioned in the beginning, you mentioned that you're an expert in a number of loans that you named, and we're almost out of time. But it's a great topic for us to pick up at a second session to explain what is a DSCR loan, what is a bank statement loan, what is an FHA loan, what is a VA loan. So to be continued. But before we say goodbye to our audience, is there any last minute thoughts that you have for them that is really important to share?
I always tell my clients and anyone that I come across, like, hey, the right time to buy is when you feel like it's the right time to buy. Don't let this media hype you, or don't let the media hype fear you into needing to buy now or missing your boat, because there's always a right time to buy, and it really just matters on what your personal situation is. You know, did you finally get that raise? Did you get this great job? Did you pay off these debts? There is no cookie cutter situation for everyone. So when you feel like the time is right, that's when you pick up the phone and you call Roxanne's team and have them connect you with a great lender, and then do that buyer consult and see if you're wanting to take the next steps.
That is the best advice. Audience, listen to Lauren. She knows her stuff.
Yeah. Roxanne may be a dinosaur, but honestly, being a dinosaur is never a bad thing in the real estate industry, because that means you have seen so much and you know how to guide your agents and your clients, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's tell everybody about Lauren. So audience, if you want to get a hold of Lauren, you can reach her on her phone number, which is right there. Or you can also reach her on her email address, and that's her email address. You can also visit her website at emortgagecapital.com. And thank you so much, Lauren, for joining us today. And audience, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me on my phone number here. And you can also reach Santiago at his phone number there. And we also love to hang out on Instagram. So please give us a follow if you're watching us there, or on Facebook. There is our handle there. And you can also email us. There's our email address. And of course, our website is pemberleyrealty.com. And if you are watching us on YouTube, Santi, what do you want them to do?
Thumbs up. Definitely like the video and then subscribe, so then you guys can see the new videos that we're dropping, and StreamYard videos with great guests like Lauren today.
And Lauren, you are amazing, and we definitely have to have a second session to explain all the loan types that you are expert in. And again, thank you everybody for joining us today, and make it a great day.
Bye,
Thank you guys. Bye.